What did a crush do that made you immediately lose interest? Bragged about how she was leading on a few guys so she always had a backup. Fatty yikes. He would ask me questions about myself, then cut me off in the middle of my answer to talk about himself. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? I think I'd like telekinesis because I have a friend like that, and my cousin does this often too. It's like they bring it up so they can talk about it, but don't realize that you can just say what you want to say instead of bait and switching with who gets to talk. I love them both dearly, but fuck, it's so annoying. I was casually dating a 19-year-old guy when I was 18. He seemed totally normal until I met him at his house before a date and his mom asked him to take the garbage out before we left. He threw a fit that would embarrass most 3-year-olds, including crying, yelling at his mom, and punching the floor. I pretended that my parents were calling and needed me to come home, blocked his number, and never saw him again. I like to think that mom knew he'd do that and was trying to save you the trouble. The mom is the secret MVP of all this, but maybe not because her kid needs help. Well, this guy most likely does need help, but someone looking to date him doesn't need to be dragged into it. He let it slip that he was cheating on his son getting together with me. Killed that crushy feeling dead. Went on a date with them and they didn't ask me anything about myself. It was completely one-sided, like a job interview or something. I'm a guy. By the way, I've been on that date. It's exhausting carrying the conversation. She told me her future plans to essentially become a gold digger like her mother. When I laughed it off, she couldn't see what I thought was so funny. He wouldn't talk to me in person for some reason. This is me in high school. Captain Anxiety takes over. This is me at age 31. I think by the age of 31 you can leave high school, my dude. She told me that spanking her teenage daughter didn't work because it wasn't satisfying enough. Edit. A bit of context. This was long ago and far away in a European country. The mother was a statuesque blonde divorcee and the daughter was about 14 and headed for trouble. Corporal punishment was de rigueur at the time, both here and in Europe. I decided that the situation was hopeless and noped out of there ASAP. The daughter hated her mother, big surprise, and went on to get pregnant and force her mother to raise the child. I came back to the States and still consider myself lucky to have dodged that bullet. It's amazing how much horrible stuff you can fit in one sentence. He talked about how he wanted to loosen up some boring family at a wedding reception, so he spiked their drinks with party drugs. Did you go on a date with Bill Ponderosa? Pondy is the coolest. A woman I was talking to was recently divorced and had moved back in with her parents. She already had a child and a couple pets and was talking about getting another pet, and her parents told her no. She chose to go ahead and get another pet anyhow, and basically her parents began pushing her out the door. And it was a stressful situation for her, and I suggested she talk to her folks. However, once she told me she was grown and made her own decisions and did not care about their rules, I suddenly understood and quickly lost interest. He started dating one of my friends after I told her that I had a crush on him. She tried hooking up with every guy she knew I had a crush on. I felt like I couldn't like anyone. Edit. This was back in 2012. We're not on bad terms, but I rarely speak to her now. Not much of a friend. Yet. Gave me a 5-minute lecture on conditions where cheating is okay. He would steal people's tips off the bar counter when we were at a bar together with friends. Then he would offer to buy me food with it. No thank you. I once knew a girl, back in the 1980s, who told me how she made money going to the bar, because all these other people went home and just left all this money sitting on the bar, so she scooped it up. She sounded very smug and proud of herself. She might actually just be stupid. Thought it was people forgetting their money there. Oh, that's totally what she thought. And she was a waitress. Got so drunk at a party that she shit herself. The smell is really what did it. I had a harmless crush on a married friend that I did not signal or act on, ever. I've been the spurned wife before. I kept my distance and did everything short of unfriending him on Facebook. He slid on into my DMs right after my separation became public knowledge and he found out I was no longer married. He was still married to his wife, with a baby on the way. I didn't respond. They are divorced now. She's a really lovely person and deserves so much better. What did he DM you though? Something along the lines of complimenting how happy and good I looked lately. Maybe I wanted to get together one night and hang. Then a dick pic. He snapped his fingers at a waitress. Then as I looked mortified, he whistled. Not a crush but an ex. Jiggled the door handle while I was taking a shit and then got angry that I wouldn't let her in. Her. Why can't I come in? Are you not comfortable with me or something? We're dating. It had been 3 days. Edit. Corrected would to wouldn't and thank you for the karma strangers. Glad my ex did at least one good thing for me lol. I'd be upset if my BF locked themselves in the bathroom for 3 days. My husband and I don't take a shit in front of each other and we've been married for 40 years. Claimed women were only a sex relief for men and couldn't be as smart as them. Then proceeded to ask me to have sex with him. Edit. Since some people are asking, copy pasting from another comment of mine about what happened afterwards. I asked him if he has a lot of sex. Yes, of course. Then you can go ask another girl, because I am not going to have sex with you. We were out. He booked me 2 hours and a half. I am not kidding you, it was actually that much time. Trying to convince me that having sex with him was going to be the best experience in my life. I let him talk 2 hours, even pretended to almost be interested, then at the end of his rant I repeated I would rather die a virgin. He was pretty offended. Edit 2. To solve another of you guys' curiosities, I didn't expect this to blow up so much. Thanks a lot. I had a crush on him in high school, and he wasn't like that as a teenager. He was a weirdo, but not sexist at least, and if he was, he made sure nobody noticed. Then we went our separate ways but I couldn't forget him, so after a year I asked him to meet again and that's what happened. Guy was academic, hygienic, and sweet. Treated waitstaff appropriately, spoke formally but still funny, shared things in common me. Perfect gentleman. Date ended 10/10. While driving me home, at a stoplight, pointed to a homeless man crossing the street, said I would stop my car for anybody crossing the street, just not homeless men. Where do they have to be? Fear in no hurry. Me thinking, okay, unsolicited and kinda odd. He added another comment, it'd be funny if I run him over. Me. Ghosted him like right after he dropped me off. Cute girl in 9th grade. There was a party over at her house, out in the country. Had a big ole crush on her, so she says they raised chinchillas. Okay, everyone wants to see the fuzzy critters. There were about 100 of them. The ammonia smell was unreal. So there's a platform with battery cables on it, and I asked what that was for. She said here I'll show you. Have some ready to go anyway. She grabbed a little fuzzy critter, clamped the cables on it and threw the switch. Without missing a beat killed that critter. It was bizarre that a teenage girl could electrocute an animal that easily. No more crush. I was actually afraid of her a little after that. It kind of sucked the life out of the party to say the least. 2 days after our first date, she showed up at my work with a pan of homemade lasagna, an ice cream making machine for my kids and all kinds of groceries. I was a single dad at the time and I guess it was some sort of care package for me. I also work about 2 hours from where she lives. When I said she didn't have to do that, she started to cry. Bit of a red flag. Are you sure she isn't from an anime? It's not like I made it for you or anything. I just had leftovers of it to get rid of. Don't think it's actually a gift or something. Baka. I have a few. Had no sense of humor. Was really attractive but opened his mouth and was a moron. Treated waitstaff badly. The most beautiful girl at my high school was friends with me. She invited me to her house one day and when we were at her house she became the angriest, meanest person in the fucking world and was straight up awful to her little sister. I'm talking like 11-12 years old. She was verbally abusing the shit out of her sister. After that I started seeing her as kind of ugly and she was like legit beautiful. Not just the most attractive person at your school, I mean Gina Gershon beautiful, not beautiful. She would eat butter, as in, grab a few sticks of butter and a small bowl of powdered sugar to dip it in. She'd eat it like Fun Dip. Did you report her to the police?